Welcome back. Vikram Deol here with the Real Estate Sales Academy. Hey, so I wanted to review what a five-star prospect is, right? Like a lot of people in our academy say, hey, what's a good prospect? How do I know if this is somebody who I should be working with? And it's called a five-star prospect. I got this from my good buddy Sharon a couple of years ago. And why do we use a five-star prospect is because if we don't know how to rank people inside of our CRM, especially if you're a team leader, maybe you're on a team, right? And you don't know how to rank, what happens is everybody's a prospect and we don't know what our pipeline actually looks like. Actually, the next video, if you're watching this one, the next video that we're going to unleash is called a pipeline review. And it'll show you exactly how much money you have in your pipeline right now, 30 to 60 days out, 60 to 90 days out, 120 days plus. Right. So we call it the 7-minute pipeline review. But right now, let's talk about what a five-star prospect is. We have to think about what is a prospect. And a lot of agents that we work with, right? These are top agents, right? These are agents that are doing 200, 400, 800. One of our new clients did $1.2 million last year. We don't understand what a five-star prospect is, which means how do we teach other people about this stuff? You guys, I got some new toys in today, so I hope they're working. I went on a little bit of a shopping spree the last time I was in the US. For those of you who don't know, I actually live in Medellin, Colombia. So I just moved into this new apartment. Let me see if I can show you guys the view over here. Check that out. Like 20th floor, penthouse, private balcony, barbecue, jacuzzi, hot tub. I don't know if that showed up or not, but pretty slick spot. So I'm just getting my bearings over here. But I got a new computer, got a new iPad. I got a bunch of lights and camera stands. I was showing it to my team and they're like, damn, bro, you really went out. I was like, hey, you gotta be serious if you're going to be serious. So let's talk about it. Maybe you guys need to upgrade some of your tools. Maybe the black shiny BMW parked outside isn't the most important tool you need. Maybe there's some technology tools that you guys need to upgrade. Maybe you need a CRM that can record these conversations so that when you work with me or you work with anybody, even if it's your own mentor, your coach, just yourself, and you're listening to your calls back, you'd be like, oh, well, that person might not be a five-star prospect. Let's start, right? Star number one, right? Star number one. Will they even enter into a conversation, right? Are they going to even get into conversation with you? Now, in our academy, we talk a lot about how do you open conversations, right? How do you open a conversation so that people actually want to? And the way you do it is there's 3 tones you should probably memorize. I'm pretty sure there's a video that I don't know if we'll be able to link it in this one, but there's a video that we've talked about tonality. The 3 most important tones that you should work on when you're starting a conversation is the lost and curious and the familiarity. Lost and curious is my go-to. If you have age leads, if you're talking to somebody you don't know, maybe they registered for a class or a webinar, maybe you did like a free buyer seminar, an investment strategy seminar, and somebody registered for your class, I'm going to start with the lost and curious, especially if it's been a few months. Or if you said to somebody, hey, I'll call you back, it's been a few months, I'm going to start with lost and curious. And the reason why is because they probably don't remember you. Now, if you're in rapport with them, you've had a conversation, right? Maybe even ask them to save your phone number and they did, and they pick up your calls or they call you back. Then I'm not going to be lost and curious because that's going to be awkward. That's going to be weird. I'm going to use the familiar tone, right? I don't have time to jump into all those right now, but those are tones that you should be thinking about and working on. So the second star, all right, you guys, I love this. I just got an iPad stand, right? So like I can actually write and look at you at the same time. I feel pretty special right now, right? I feel pretty special. I feel like I'm actually a halfway good teacher right now. So the second one is, are they friendly? Now, with all the technology that I've purchased over I think it's like $4,000 worth of tech that I just bought. I really thought when I came over the border and I was coming back into Colombia. Okay, so I got to pause for a quick story, all right? Because some of you guys have been following me on Instagram. You guys see my stories. I always get randomly checked when I leave the country. right? There's always a random check now. Like, I don't know what's going on in the US, but there's random checks. And so every time I get randomly checked, I got to take my iPad out. I got to take my shoes off. They make me take my sweater off, my hat. They make me take my iPad and my phone out of the case, right? My phone case is broken because I've had to take it out so many times. It's a mess. So I'm coming back into the country and I've never seen, right? I've never seen them actually open somebody else's like suitcase. And so I'm walking in and there's like these two young girls that are visiting. They're in college. You could tell like they're, 18, 19 years old on a first trip out of the country. And these girls are like going through their whole underwear, everything. It's all everywhere. It's a mess. And I was like, oh my God, I brought back a ton of technology, right? Like all these stands that you can't see, computer monitor, a new, like I had two laptops, right? Two brand new, like one's a brand new Mac, two iPads, two cell phones, right? Like 16 different lights. And it was wild, right? My mom's like, holy crap, it's Christmas for Vikram and Amazon's going wild, right? I should have bought Amazon stock before I went on a shopping spree. I literally thought they were going to like cavity search me. I'm not even kidding. I was sweating. I texted my girl. I'm like, babe, they're opening suitcases. I had a box that was saran wrapped, right? With moving saran wrap. And it was packed with vitamins and peptides, like so much stuff, right? I'm like, oh my God, they're going to totally tear me apart. Each suitcase is 70 pounds. I'm like, it was so hard to pack everything. If they go through it, like there's no way in God's green earth that I'm going to be able to pack it back up. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I put my stuff through. One suitcase came out, put the second one through, came out, third one came out, backpack came out. And they just like, all right, bye. And I'm like, are you for reals? Like, this is crazy. Anyways, number two is, are they friendly, right? The reason I share this was they were friendly and collaborative, right? Are the people you're talking to friendly and collaborative? Are the people you're talking to willing to enter a conversation, right? That's first step. If you can't get into a conversation because you're triggering sales resistance by your standard phrases, hey, how you doing today? Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk to you. That's not even a one-star prospect. If they're not friendly and collaborative, right, willing to talk to you and share things with you, then they're not a two-star. Guess what? It's not your fault that you were taught incorrectly, but it is your problem. It's not your fault you were taught to ask, oh my God, how are you doing? Oh my God, did you watch the game? Oh, the weather's so good. Nobody cares about that, right? Your prospects don't care about that. You are on a business call, right? A great opener that I learned from Fred, I can't remember his last name. He says this. He'll call people that he's in rapport with, right? They're friendly and collaborative. And he'll say this. He'll say, hey, it's just Fred calling, right? Hey, it's just Fred calling. This is a business call, right? This is a business call. Now he's in rapport with these people. A lot of them he's done deals with, or they know who he is. He says, this is a business call. I was curious, right? I was wondering if I had a property that paid you to own it, would you be interested in knowing about something like that now? Or is that more of like a summer all project, right? And the people like, oh no, if it's going to pay me now, I'd like to know about it. Or maybe they just bought something because it's called a sorting question, right? So it's called a sorting question. So maybe they go, well, I'll just write it down over here. Sorting questions, right? This is a great way, right? Instead of asking open-ended questions where people can't answer, sorting questions is this. Wait, let me go back to the iPad, or that question. So, hey, have you already purchased a home, or were you thinking, like, did you guys already buy a home, or was that like something you guys were thinking to do in the summertime, right? Because everybody always tells you, oh, we're not in a rush to buy a home, right? So the way we prevent objections is we take what people give us and we create frameworks, right? Structured conversations based off of the pattern recognition that we've seen to prevent them to say the things that you're already saying. We take it away from them, right? So first thing is are they willing to enter a conversation? The second is, are they friendly and collaborative? Third is, right, do they have a rough idea? No, oh my gosh, can't write and talk at the same time today. It took me 36 hours almost to get home from, I was speaking at the Harcourts International, great auction house brokerage here. Actually one of the biggest companies in the world in real estate, just not as big in the US. I was one of their keynote speakers, which was, wow, knock on wood, that was unexpected. And flew into California, drove up to Ojai, stayed at the Ojai Valley Inn, an amazing resort, beautiful. And then my buddy Cody, who runs Sheridan Street, and I got to both have a keynote, which was awesome. But on the way back, there was weather in Dallas, which means I couldn't get to Florida, which means I missed my flight, which means I had to spend the night in Miami. So what was supposed to be a 17-hour flight ended up taking, no, not 36 hours. 17 plus 12 is 29. Oh yeah, about 32, 33 hours. So I got home, instead of getting home at like 11 o'clock at night, waking up at 3, getting home at 11. I got home the next day at almost 4 p.m. and that was Sunday. So like I'm still out of it. So do they roughly, right? I say roughly do they roughly know they want? And the reason why I'm going to highlight the word roughly here, the reason why I'm going to highlight roughly is because it's our job to help them figure out what they actually want. It's our job in a buyer's consultation to walk them through the market realities and share with them what those are so that they can then realize, okay, maybe my $1 million budget isn't going to get me the lake house like it did 20 years ago. Maybe my $1 million budget isn't going to get me in the center of town. Maybe I might have to expand my search criteria, means you might need to take them out on a tour, right? I would highly recommend that we don't qualify on the phone. We sit down and do a buyer, treat buyers like sellers. Same thing with the listing. They might think they know what they want, but they don't actually know what they want, right? So it's our job to be problem finders before we become problem solvers. If we don't know what their true problem is, which is what we teach inside of the Real Estate Sales Academy, it's what we teach inside of our Trust Report Influence Sales course, right? We have so many different packages now this year, you guys. We've been working so hard, no joke, to create actual step-by-step framework so that you understand the human behavior behind a buyer and a seller. Maybe you guys have never heard of this. All sellers are buyers in disguise. If you want to have more sellers, guess what? Buyers are the sellers, but they don't tell you they're selling. They say, we're looking for a new home. If we don't know how to have a structured conversation, if we don't know how to understand the pattern recognition of when they say this, actually, it could mean that they have something over here. Because why would a seller sell with a 3.5%? Why would a seller sell with a 3.5% rate, a beautiful home, to then have to go get a home that maybe has a 6% rate? And they don't necessarily love it as much because the other home, they've had memories, they've updated, they've upgraded, but they need to get into a new school district. It's our job to help them see that by staying, it could be more detrimental, because as prices rise, right, as prices rise and the market shifts, they're going to get priced out further and further and further. Because if you look at the line, Zillow just released a study. Prices have gone up 80% since 2020. That's insane. Income has gone up 23%. That's insane. Do the math on that. People are not going to be able to afford houses in the US if they don't start trading up now. But you can't tell that to them. You have to learn how to have a structured conversation using your tone, using your body language, right? So these are the things we talk about. So the number 4 is, again, I'm going to say roughly here, they roughly know when they want to move. Again, roughly, because whose job is it to find out and help them see the timeline, right? I was talking with one of our brand new clients yesterday, and she says, well, what happens if I get a renter? In our market in Maui, she said, in our market in Maui, we don't get compensated by the agent if we work on rental. So what do? I said, oh yeah. So one of my new clients that's in Maui, right? Or not Maui, she's in Hawaii. She says, well, over here, when we work with people, like, what do we do when they give us we want to rent before we buy, right? A lot of people are moving there from the mainland. They're coming from a different island. So they want to test the market. It makes sense. The listing side doesn't give a commission for, working with the renter. So the agent gets a commission, but they don't pay anything out to the agent that brings them. I said, well, it's really simple. You do a buyer consult, because oftentimes renters are confused buyers. Write that down, y'all. Renters are confused buyers. Okay. So we talked about, we created a framework. And then when you sit down with them, you say, this is how it works. This is the process. When you guys are ready to buy, you should, we would love to be in contact with you. We're going to continue to stay in contact with you to make sure that everything goes smoothly and that you get the things you need. Here's a renter's guide. This is what you should look out for. These are the things that you should worry about. Show them what they need to do. Show them the ramifications of them doing it on their own. Then say, if you'd like our assistance, we have a fee of $3,500, right? Or maybe you do a sliding fee based off of pricing. And now you can help them or you don't. And it's the renter's choice. But oftentimes what happens are renters are just confused buyers. They think that they need X, Y, and Z in order to buy. Well, that's not always the case, right? So we have to know roughly when they want to move. Again, I'm going to highlight the word roughly because it's our job to educate them on the process. Oftentimes people think they need 25% down for stuff or 15% down. So like, well, we need to wait to save. Again, in this market, prices are going to go up. Every single market that I coach in, we coach all over North America and Canada, from small islands like Victoria Island to big cities like Chicago, Bakersfield, and all the little populations all around Newport Beach. Everybody's in multiple offers, which means prices are going to continue to rise. And if rates come down, personally, I hope rates don't come down because that's just going to push prices up higher. I hope rates stay the same, keep some buyers on the sidelines because we already have enough buyers in the market right now. You guys call me crazy, but when your skills are great and you know how to write offers, right? We actually did a video a couple months ago where we showed you how to actually write an offer and share how to write offers with your clients, prospects in the buyer consultation. I would advise you to go back. I think it was like somewhere back in, we're March now. I think it was late January, early February. You should know how to do this. Like we didn't lose offer because we would spend a half an hour in the buyer consultation talking about that. Most agents spend a half an hour talking about the home that the person wants. None of that matters if they're not willing to work with. Treat the buyer consultation like a listing. Don't go through everything if they're not willing to work with. If they're not friendly and collaborative, right? If they're not friendly and collaborative and they're just going to take your information and then go to somewhere else, don't give it to them. You have to get commitments along the way. And then the fifth thing is probably the most important once you get through all this is, right? Do they want you to help them? Think about that one, right? Like number one is you can enter a conversation, right? They pick up their phone, they respond to their DMs. Two is they're friendly and collaborative. They actually want to talk to you. They're willing to share with you. Three is, right? Do they know, right, roughly what they want? Number four is, do they know roughly when they want it? Now, after you do a buyer or a seller's consultation, you guys should have this stuff, right? Like our clients have these facts locked in because I show you how to use the right tone, the right language patterns, the right structured conversations that work with human psychology to actually do this. And the fifth thing is, do they want you to help them? If they don't want you to help them, y'all, like find somebody to refer them out to. Like at least get something versus nothing. Because if they don't want you, they're going to go find somebody else. So at least refer them to somebody and get something out of it, right? Like if you, right? So that's what's a 5-star product. The next video that we're actually going to do right now that we're going to release later this week is going to be based on a pipeline review, right? It's a 7-minute pipeline review. It allows you to actually get excited about what's coming down the pipe. I'm just going to share a little teaser. Our prices are going up in the next 30 days by April 1st. So our prices are going up for all of our stuff. I don't say that because I'm trying to FOMO you. Like you guys, I don't do that. I'm just telling you our prices are going up because we just have so much new stuff coming out that we have to increase our prices because our advanced training group to 30 hours a month, right? Like imagine the company you're with right now that trains you for 2 hours a month. And those 2 hours are very like, okay, we got 30 minutes. Let's go. We have up to 30 hours a month where you can plug in scripting reviews. You can work on your structured frameworks. You can learn on pattern recognition, right? For a ton. I do all the training. So you're getting somebody who sold $250 million of real estate, millions of dollars in knives, hundreds, maybe thousands of people now in sales, Had my first training company at 18, right? Understands how to not only be in Mr. and Mrs. Jones's proximity, but also how to teach you the skills to fire and rewire the new neurons inside of your brain. Anyways, go watch the 7-minute pipeline review. Implement the 5-star prospect into your CRM. Just create tags, right? This is a 1-star tag, 2-star tag, 3-star tag. Obviously, you want to spend time with your 5 stars, right? So the pipeline review that we're going to talk about right now is going to teach you that. So I really appreciate you. I'll see you on the next video. If you want to know what we do, there's a link below. I believe it says something like the Real Estate Sales Academy / get more listings. Click there, go book an appointment, talk to me or one of our associates on our team, learn what we're doing. Let's see if we can find those gaps in your business that's causing you to lose 1, 2, 3, or even deals a month, like some of our top clients, that could be costing you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars every single year. I always say the most expensive skill, right? The most expensive bill, your most expensive expense is the skills you don't even know you should know. All right, y'all, I appreciate you. See you on the next one.